And another fasting check-in. That's right. That's right. We are in this space right now, y'all. We are in another fast for this week, and we're doing a complete review of fasting. How do we prepare for the fast? How do we get through the fast successfully? And then, of course, how do we break that fast to maintain the benefits that we have learned, the things that we've gotten while we've been fasting? Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, that's right. That's right. We are breaking through the boundaries. We're breaking those barriers. We're not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be healthy. We are in the process of limitless living. It says that nothing's going to stop us. And you have joined me as we are doing a complete review. As I said, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, who want to reverse their diabetes. And we're using one of those powerful tools, fasting, as a way to do that. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I am excited that you're here. If you do have questions, go ahead and put those questions in the chat so that we can get to those as we move through the show. You know how we do it. If you've been with us, you know how we do this. If you've not been with us, you'll learn that I've got next to me here my glucose meters, and I've got my clarity report, which is just down below, that you'll see. And we will go through those and work to show you what's been going on over the last several days as we've been working with our blood sugars. Okay, having said that, why are we doing what we're doing? That's a question that a lot of people are asking. Why are you fasting? Why are you? What is this show all about? And here in this space, we are working to improve our health. We are working to improve what we're doing as it relates to our metabolic health. Okay, and so here in the space, that's what we're working on, and we're excited to be able to do that, to be able to show that, and I guess for a backdrop, our premise comes from the fact that a lot of what we do in terms of our when we talk about chronic illnesses has to do with metabolism. That's where it is. That's the problem. That's where we find ourselves. And so in our quest to improve our metabolism, we are using all those tools that we've learned to be able to do that. Now, when we talk about diabetes, and you heard me say that at the top of the show, diabetes is the prototypic metabolic disease. It is the one, if we can figure out how to manage diabetes, if we can figure out how to improve diabetes, then a lot of the other diseases that we talk about will also improve, because they are along the spectrum of metabolism. So remember, metabolism is the way that the body takes energy from your food, or takes your food and converts it to energy so that it can use it, so that it can be successful. So the things that needs to happen to help us to breathe and to move and have our heart working and all those things that are associated with that, right? So that is metabolism. When metabolism is dysfunctional, then it causes all of the disease processes that you have come to know, right? Like diabetes, like hypertension, like coronary artery disease, like fatty liver, and like polycystic ovarian syndrome, all those things. And it also predisposes us to heart disease, right? Because remember, heart disease, one of the most common risk factors for heart disease is diabetes. And so when we talk about metabolic disease, we're not just talking about blood sugars. We're talking about all those things that are related to it, and all those things that we see happening for people who are suffering from from the disease. So if we can improve it, if we can get it better, then you know what? Hey, then things work and things are improved. So here in this space, what we've been doing is we've been trying to figure out, I shouldn't say trying to figure out, we've been walking the path on how do we get better blood sugars, how do we set ourselves up for better success as it relates to our diabetes. Because if we can do that, if we can figure that out, then all the other things that we see, the benefit of all the things that we get is better, right? And so for those of you who may be saying, hey, I'm not diabetic, why do I need to listen to that? It's not just that you're diabetic, it's all the other things that go along with that process, okay? And so as we've been walking through the journey on Dwain Woode MD Live, which is our main show on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central. If you've not done that yet, make sure you get over there. Make sure you're watching through those and walking through the process with us. On the show, what we've been doing is walking down that path. We've been taking that journey. As we are learning tools, we then do our shows on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which are shows that help us with learning how to implement the things that we are doing, the things that we're learning over there, okay? And so what you've caught us in is one of those episodes where we are talking about the amazing tools that we're using, and fasting is that tool that we're doing today. We do a once-a-week fast here on the show, and we kind of walk through and let you know what's been going on with us. We have lots of community members that are out there that also are fasting, whether they're doing one meal a day or they're doing alternate day fasting, they're doing time-restricted eating. Any of those things are, any of those fasting methods are methods that are beneficial. When we talk about reversing diabetes, what we're looking at is hitting those three pillars. You remember the three pillars? They are decreasing our insulin, suppressing the appetite, and reducing sugar. And fasting, by the virtue of the way it works, helps with all of those. It hits all the different pillars. Now, there are other tools that we've learned, like balanced bites, right? How to create a menu, all those things that also hit those. But one of the most fascinating ones, and free, right? You like free? One of the most fascinating ones and free is the idea that we are fasting and we don't have to do anything. We don't have to go buy anything. We don't have to get any special equipment. All we have to do is get our minds together and get our bodies together and begin fasting. And so that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to be discussing today. How do we move through the space of being metabolically active and metabolically healthy? As I mentioned earlier, we'll take a look at blood sugars. I've got my monitors. I've got my meter over to the side here. I've got my Dexcom Clarity report down below that we'll take a look at so you can see what's been happening with me over the course of the last little bit. Okay? All right. So having said that, let's go ahead and do a check-in. And I typically do a check-in, and you will see that the things that I'm doing my check-in on, right, there are three areas that I talk about. As we talk about the tools that we're learning and we walk through the process, you'll see these coming up over and over and over and over again. And so anytime you want to improve anything, anytime you want to get something better, you want to be able to evaluate, you want to be able to check to see whether you're getting the benefit that you expected. Do I need to pivot? Do I need to make any changes in terms of adjusting what I'm doing, how often I'm doing it? And that is what our check-in will do for us. And so the places that we talk about, there are three. There are how we're doing physically, how we're doing mentally, and then how we're doing emotionally. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. And right now, so let's go back and let's talk a little bit about me. So as I have been mentioning this week, this has been kind of a challenging week. And so we did our show yesterday. We were 36 hours into the fast. This morning, we were 48 hours into the fast. And so I broke my fast this morning at 48, 49, 50. about 50 hours. Okay, so just a little while ago, and so we're going to see what my ketones are, what my blood sugars are, and then what my ketones are here in just a little while. Okay. So physically, when we talk about physical, people tend to talk about their energy, right? So I'm feeling as though, this is what people say, I'm feeling as though I'm walking through mud of quicksand. I've hit a wall. My energy is drained. Those are comments that we get when people are talking about fasting. I am, of course, not feeling that. Over the course of the early part of this week when I was doing my fasting, there was some of that was feeling as though I was not doing a great job hydrating, but that improved. Of course, there are a lot of emotional and mental things happening, which we'll come to in a minute, that was affecting what was going on in terms of the fast. But physically, right now, feeling pretty good. Mentally, a lot of what happened early in the week in terms of the busyness, we talked about overcommitment, we talked about cravings, right? So all of that played into the thought process. But in terms of being able to process and being able to make decisions, even here as we're talking, feeling pretty clear, okay? And then the big one for me this week was emotional, because there was so much that was being, I don't want to say coming at me, but in terms of my structure and the things that I do to keep myself centered, I had gotten away from some of that, right? My routine that I was doing in the morning and in the evening, and my check-ins and journaling and so forth. I was like, okay, I'm so busy, I've just got to do the thing. Not realizing that when you get off of the schedule, when you get out of that, it actually doesn't help. You say you have more time, but it actually throws you a little off. And so that's what happened to me this week. And so you guys saw that in real time as we were discussing that. Okay. And so now let's go ahead and let's take a look at what my blood sugars are. And so here is my, this is my Libre. And right now you'll see what the blood sugar is, 132. And if I go over and look at my Dexcom, and so the Dexcom, so 132, Dexcom is saying 173. And we'll see what my monitors over off to the side are saying here. And you know what that is? So all of that is, those are the mixed nuts from Sam's, you know, the box, right? So that's all I had. And you'll see where the blood sugars, and let's go over here. So here's dawn phenomenon this morning, and then right around here is where I ate, and you'll see that spiked up to 173, and then coming back down to 142, and right. So look at that. So this would be still considered the postprandial period, right? Those first 6 hours. Okay. So now let's go ahead and let's take a look at what my monitors are saying. And so off to my side, here's my Keto Mojo, and here's my Contour. Let's go ahead and grab a strip for the Contour. That's this guy right here. Get that in. And then I've got, to grab my handy dandy container. So in here I have, hopefully, yeah. So the brown is the blood sugar and the blue is ketone, right? So blood sugar and ketone. Let's go ahead and I'm open the blood sugar one, and I'm not going to put it in there quite yet because I've got some other things that I want to do and talk about. Actually, let me take this one out. So here is the one for ketones, and let's go back here, right? So last night, if you were on the episode, you saw that I used this guy as to get my finger stick, to get my drop of blood. And I tend not to like this because my fingers, the ones at least that I use, and you may see some discoloration right there and right there. And I've used these fingers so much that they have become a bit calloused, okay? So this doesn't provide enough force often to get through that skin. And so I have to use a different finger, like one that I don't normally use, in order to get a good drop of blood. And I may do that just so you could see, but these are the ones that I had initially. And let me open this up. So these are BD Ultrafines, and these are just ones that I happen to have that we had some samples. So. And I like these, and then I also like the soft clicks, which I'll have some to show you at another time. So I tend to like these, and this, the reason I like it is because when I take this off, you should see there's a little needle, right? And I get to put as much force as I need on this, and so I can still use the same finger. Of course, I've got to press a lot harder, and I don't use the lancing device, which is lancing. You put it in, and then it's spring loaded. But that's a whole nother story. So let's do this. I'm gonna grab this one, and just for you, I am going to do another finger stick. Okay, so let's get this off the screen. Well, it's okay. I'll leave it right there. Right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and let's put this in just in case I get a good drop of blood. Get that in, and go ahead and get this one in. Okay, so get those started. And I'm going to use this guy, and I'm going to pick a finger that I don't normally use, one that's not as calloused. Okay, so pull that off. And when I press this button, it'll send the lancet out. So I don't usually use my pinky, so I'm going to use that today. And let's see if we get a good. All right, so got it. All right, and so there's a drop of blood there, but it's not very much, right? So usually I want a brisk, because I don't think that's going to be enough to get it on the strip. So I'm going to go and grab, where's the other one? So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, and I'm going to go back to the regular finger that I normally use, which is this one, and I'll have to do okay, go ahead and press that in, and then hopefully, yeah, so see, so I get a better drop of blood on that one. Now it didn't bleed as briskly as I would want, but that's okay. So get that started, and then I'll have to kind of milk that to get another drop for here. So 144 is what that guy says, and then of course right there you'll see, right? So 135, 144, 187. Okay, and let's go ahead and we need one more drop because we need to get our ketones. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? Now we're getting lots of different numbers from each of these meters. So let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, so what do you think my ketones are going to be? All right, so I haven't eaten, 4 hours ago. Of course, I'm not going to show that to you. Let's get that one off the screen. But let's do this. I want to go back here for a minute. All right, so 144 contour, 137 was the Libre, and then 166 was the Dexcom. And on the Keto Mojo, it said that my blood sugar was 180s, in the 180s. So there is that range. And so often people will get confused and say, well, I don't know, why is it different, right? Lots of reasons that they're different. And we will, well, just briefly, they can be different because it's a chemical reaction, right? So depending on the amount of blood that goes on the strip, depending on how cold it is, depending on how cold the meter is, right? So all those things can affect the blood sugar that you get. In addition to that, then the meters are allowed to be about 20% different. So if I get 100 on my contour, then I can get anywhere from 80 to 120 on one of these meters, and that's still considered to be within the range of the same. Okay. Anyway, so lots of different reasons why they can be different, and you see here, like this right now is what, 24 points apart, and if I go here, right, so from the Libre to the Dexcom, so Dexcom is 168, Libre is 134, right, so that's 30-point difference, and then here, 144 to 134, that's 10-point difference, and so forth, okay? All right, so, and I do see someone put a guess in there for my ketones, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members that I see out there. And let's see. So, Bowie says, hello, everyone. Hey, how are you? Glad that you're coming through. And Pamela says, hello. Hey, Pam, how are you? Hi, Pam. And Bowie says, I feel like fasting makes me more conscious of my spiritual energy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I love that. Let me give a hand clap. Hand clap. So, Bowie, one of the shows that we have on tap. In fact, we were going to do this show, I think last week or the week before, but we preempted it with another discussion. But one of the shows that we were going to do, and we still are going to do, is the non-metabolic benefits of fasting. The non-metabolic benefits of fasting, and part of that has to do with our spiritual energy. It has to do with dealing with anxiety. It has to do with our mindset. So it's not just that, and I'm glad you said that, because this is amazing that it's not just that fasting helps with metabolism. Fasting helps with so many other things. Okay. Now, spiritually, there are whole kinds of connotations and whole kinds of conversations that we can have dealing with, whatever your beliefs are and where that fits in things like the Bible and other spiritual books that you may have, or even mindsets that people will adopt, different ways of thinking and philosophy, right? So fasting has traditionally been one of those places where it's been cultural, it's been spiritual, it's been philosophical, right? Now it has made it into the mainstream as a health tool, but there are so many other things that we can benefit from when it comes to fasting. So thank you for putting that in there. I love that. And then Bowie says that they think my my ketones are going to be 0.8. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to star that, because we'll come back to that in a minute. All right. Let's see what else. Okay, so let's go ahead, and so we've done our check-in. We looked at our blood sugars. What I want to do is jump into our conversation, and our conversation is about fasting. Whenever we fast, one of the main things to understand is that fasting is more than just a physical thing, and we'll make that point again. But fasting review, and actually let me do one thing here. All right, so fasting review, and the question is, let's do this one. There we go. Okay. What do we need to know? Right? Fasting, what do I need to know? Because we're doing a complete review of where we are, what our fasting is doing, what's going on in our body, how do we get ready, and how do we break that fast. So whenever I talk about fasting, there are 3 phases that I want us to make sure that we are understanding. That there is the preparation for the fast, there's the getting through the fast, and then there's breaking the fast. And each of those is just as important as the other. In fact, you can get through a fast successfully, but if you break the fast, in a way that is not conducive for continued metabolic benefit, you undo some of the things that you did in the fast. And then if you don't prepare for the fast, then you don't get through the fast properly, and you end up having a difficult time. And so it's hard to continue in that process. Okay, so preparing for the fast. Why preparation is key, right? Preparation is key because how you prepare determines your ultimate success. How you get ready for the fast, how you move into the fast is so important as it relates to what's going to happen down the road. What's going to happen in the fast itself, and then after the fast, am I getting the benefits of fasting? Because remember, we're using fasting not just for the sake of fasting. We're using fasting as a tool. In this space, we're using it as a tool for metabolism, but it is a tool that we can, and as you saw in the chat, in the comments there a little while ago, that there are so many other non-metabolic benefits that comes from fasting. Okay, so when we are going through the fast, in terms of preparing for the fast, we want to look at three areas: physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, there are some other ancillary things that we'll talk about, but these are the three main ones. And once again, see, this is when we did my check-in. These are the three. And so we want to make sure that we are doing the things that we need to do in those areas to be successful. And then when we fast, it allows us to determine the milestones. So one of the things that's going to be important as you're moving through the fast, even as we're talking about improving our metabolism and reversing our diabetes and getting better when it comes to our metabolic disease, there are milestones that we want to put in place so that we know that we're heading in the right direction. We know that we're having some successes. Because if not, well, if you don't celebrate where you are and know the journey that you're on and where you are in the journey, then it becomes a very daunting task sometimes to be healthy. Okay, so one of the things that I am so a big proponent of is to make sure that we are celebrating those successes that we have as it relates to our journey. Okay, so when we prepare, it helps us to determine what those milestones are, so we can set ourselves up to be aware of when we're hitting those, where are those coming, and then we can celebrate them and know that we're heading in the right direction. Because think about it, taking a trip, right? And you get in the car, say you want to go to New York, and as you're driving, you're seeing signs that are saying, South Carolina, you're seeing Georgia, you're seeing Florida. Guess what? You're not heading in the right direction. Okay? So the milestones will help you in that process as well. Okay? So mental preparation. When we prepare mentally, it helps us to set clear goals and understand why we're fasting. That is so important. The why of fasting. Why am I doing this? Is this for blood sugar? Is this for weight? Is it for other metabolic conditions that I'm trying to improve? How long a fast do I need to fast? How long do I need to fast? Right? All of those are things that are in the process of the mental part of it. Okay? When we prepare mentally, what we're doing is we're imagining the benefits, we're visualizing, we're seeing what the benefits are for a successful fast. Because when you get into the fast, if there are places where you are being challenged, you go back to this mental picture that you have of the success, getting through the fast successfully, and the physical, mental, emotional benefits or spiritual benefits that you're getting from this process. And that helps to push you just a little bit more as you're moving through the space. And because we're preparing, we are determining which fast is right for us. So there are lots of ways of doing fasting, right? There is, and you've heard me go through these again and again and again, but lots of different ways. Alternate day fasting, 5 and 2, time restricted eating, extended fasting, 24, 48, 72 hours. And so you want to pick the fast that is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. Now, all fasting helps with metabolism. All fasting helps with blood sugar. All fasting helps with insulin resistance and obesity and polycystic ovarian syndrome. All fasting helps with those. But there are some fasting regimen that have been identified as being able to help specific disease processes. And we did that We did that on our show back. Wow, I'll have to find that link, right, to that episode. But we did. I think there were 3 episodes in that series, that mini series. One where we talk about fasting in general. 2, we did the different types of fasts as I've been outlining, and then we did a show where we talked about the different disease processes that the fasting has been shown to improve, right? So we want to go back and take a look at those, because that's a fascinating series that we did. But when you're fasting, you want to identify the type of fast that you're going to do and educate yourself on that fast. What is it going to look like? What do I need to do? How do I know I'm successful with that fast, and so forth? And then in preparation, you are setting yourself up for success. And so what you're doing is you are preparing affirmations, right? So things that you are going to tell yourself, things you're going to see around your environment that are going to help push you forward, right? You want to elicit help from your inner coach. We have an inner coach and we have an inner critic. And the critic is always going to tell us we can't, we shouldn't, we won't, we didn't, right? We don't have a history of being successful, but we want to give the coach some ammunition to say, no, we can do this. And the affirmations are a great way of doing that. I am fasting for my health. I am improving my metabolism. I am improving my blood sugar. I am getting more insulin sensitive. All of those affirmations. I can do this. I can successfully move through the fast. Affirmations. When you do that, you're strengthening your inner coach, and that's preparing you mentally. Okay? So nutritional preparation. This one is very important because the way you eat as you're moving through the fast will ultimately give you success in the fast or cause some difficulty in the fast. All right? The very first concept is the carbohydrates and the sugar that we eat in the meals leading up to the fast. Remember, one of the goals of fasting is to decrease insulin, suppress the appetite, and reduce sugar. Those are the 3 pillars of reversing diabetes. Decreasing insulin, suppressing appetite, and reduce sugar. So if you're eating sugary things, high carb things leading up to the fast, in order for your body to process that, it has to cause insulin to come out, or you take insulin from outside, right? So you're taking a shot or taking medication that produces insulin in your body. When insulin comes out, right, that goes against the first pillar of decreasing insulin. We're causing insulin actually to go up. When insulin goes up, then it will do its job, which is to bring blood sugar down. And so that dip in blood sugar, right, that increased dip in blood sugar as we're going into the fast can be seen as decreased energy, and we can feel that as though, okay, man, we're feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, woozy, right? Feel like I'm hitting the wall, right? And it's simply because we're having to manage the blood sugar that comes from the stuff we just ate, right? That's number one. Insulin itself causes you to have stimulation of your appetite because insulin dysregulates the satiety and the hunger hormone. So insulin dysregulates that, so you feel more hungry and less full. That's an insulin problem. When insulin comes out, insulin causes you to put on weight because it's a storage hormone. Because the insulin is elevated and it's super elevated, then it goes and it makes our vessels more stiff, and that causes high blood pressure. Right? Notice all the downstream things from the carbs and the high sugar that you just ate leading into the fast. And because you're craving now, right, and because your appetite is stimulated, the first hours of being in the fast becomes more difficult because you're like, man, I can't fast because I'm always hungry. Well, you're always hungry because we just ate all that highly sugary foods. Okay? And as we move further into the fast, if the stuff we just ate is highly processed, high carbs, high sugar, it takes us longer to get into ketosis because we got to deal with all that sugar. And dealing with all that sugar means that insulin is up. And when insulin is up, ketones can't be in the same space. In order for ketones to happen, insulin has to decrease. But because we're still dealing with the sugar that came from the food that we ate, insulin stays high, and if insulin stays high, ketones stay high, and the body never gets to, well, it doesn't, not never gets to, it takes longer to get into that fat burning space. And people say, well, I'm not losing weight. Well, we're not losing weight because what we ate coming into the fast dysregulated the whole fasting process. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So sugar, right? So that one is a big one. The other thing is increasing your protein and fat. Remember, so protein, when we eat protein, it makes our body feel fuller longer. It produces that protein YY. It sends a signal to the brain that I am full, that I shouldn't eat anymore. It slows the GI tract, so I might feel fuller because the food stays longer. When we increase the fats send a signal, right? They produce cholecystokinin, and that sends a signal to the brain that says, I'm full. My stomach is full. I don't have to go eat anything else. Okay, so we're preparing nutritionally. And when you are going up to the fast, you want to determine what is going to be the specific meal that you're going to eat before you start the fasting. Why is that important? That's important because if not, often life gets busy and we are rushing right into the fast and we end up just grabbing the thing that's there. And the thing that's there, the things that are most convenient, if you think about your house and the things around you, the things that are most convenient are not the types of balanced bites that we talk about. It's like the sugary, high carb, high processed food that's there. And we grab it, we eat it, and then now it's off to the races because we set ourselves up for those difficulties as we just described in the first part of the fasting. Okay? So we're preparing nutritionally, right? And then gradually reduce your eating window. So all of that important. And then hydration. Hydration is important. If we don't hydrate well, then the body will, the body has to make some changes to compensate. So some of the things that happen in the body during fasting, number one, in order for the body to process the ketones that are going to be developing, we need fluid in the body to wash out some of the toxins, to lubricate and help some of the enzymes to work. And if you are not hydrated when you get into fasting, then all that process doesn't work as well. The other thing is we may feel palpitations, feel like our heart's racing or skipping a beat. And the reason that happens is because if the total blood volume in my body is lower, but I still have to deliver the same oxygen, the same nutrients, same energy to the cells and take away the same toxins, in order for that to happen, then my body says, okay, I got to make my blood move faster. And when it moves faster, it's pumping harder. That shows up as palpitations, feeling like the heart's racing, skipping a beat, all those things that people will say they feel. And it's partially because they are not well hydrated. All right, so making sure you're hydrated is very important. Herbal teas, calamine lotion, chamomile tea. I said chamomile lotion. Peppermint, all that's good for hydration, and it also helps to relax you. And then, of course, physical preparation, right? This is important because your body has to carry you through the fast. And so you want to make sure that physically you're doing well. So if you've been doing strenuous exercises, perhaps during the fast, right? If you're doing a 16-8, 24-hour, 30, whatever the number, you want to scale back and do light exercises. Unless you're doing a fasting workout, which is a whole nother conversation, okay? So you want to reduce the strenuous exercise 1 to 2 days before you begin the fast. You want to make sure that you're getting good rest. You want to aim for 7 hours of quality restorative sleep, not just getting in the bed and, right? So we're talking about restorative sleep. So if you have sleep apnea, for example, and you're not sleeping, you may be in the bed, but you're not getting that restorative sleep. You're not getting that deep sleep. If your blood sugars are so high that you're getting up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a night to go to the bathroom, that is disrupting your sleep. So now you've got to go fix those things so that you can be ready to fast. So notice it's not just getting into the fast. It's like there are things around you that you've got to be mindful of to get ready so that you can fast successfully. And then begin reducing your caffeine or energy drinks. And that's important because if you get into the fast, you may have some withdrawal symptoms, some anxiety, some jitteriness, and that can be seen as problems with the fast. But it's really not the problem with the fast. Is that we didn't prepare well. And then, of course, prepare your environment. Clean out temptations. Remove unhealthy snacks. And you saw I scratched out unhealthy, and I just said remove snacks. There is no physiologic reason for snacks. Snacking is all up here. There's no physiologic reason for snacking. Now, there are medical reasons why some people will say, okay, have a snack. For example, some people are taking certain medications that require food. Certain medications that require a specific time of day that you take it. So if you have a specific medication that requires a specific time of the day to be taken, and it requires food to go with it, then snacking might be a good place for you. But unless there's a medical reason, then most of snacking has to do with our thought, with our mentation. Right, so clean out snacks. Create a fasting friendly zone. Keep your kitchen stocked with healthy teas, water, fasting supporting drinks. All right, one of the things I use during my fast is this thing right here. All right, so I use Gold Peak tea. All right, this is the 0 sugar one. So anyway, so that's my that's what I use. So lots of different things you can use. One of our community members has shared her IV hydration that she uses and so forth. So all of those are things that you can do, but you want to make sure that you are cleaning your environment. Prepare distractions. Plan from reading, plan walking, meditation. This all helps distract you from the hunger that, the psychological hunger, let me say that you may feel. Okay? And then emotional and social preparation. Let your support network, let the people around you know what you're going to be doing. Identify the triggers, habits, emotions, access, and taste. Those are the four places where people tend to have difficulty. Right? Habits, the habits that we've gotten into, the routines that we do. The schedule. Hey, we go to the movies, we eat popcorn. Hey, it's movie night, we eat popcorn. Hey, I'm getting together with friends, we're going to go to the coffee shop and we're going to drink coffee and eat bagels and muffins and whatever. Not because we're hungry, but just because that's what we do. Of course, emotions. Whenever emotions are high, they're going to push us through, push us off of our eating plan. So you want to make sure that you are dealing with those emotions prior to getting into the fast. Access, right? That's the whole idea of having stuff around you. If it's not around you, then the likelihood that you will eat it goes down. And then, of course, taste, right? The first perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat, the bliss point. Those are things that will push us in the direction to eat when we don't want to eat or when we've said we're not going to eat. And then, of course, community is so important. So make sure you're joining a community like this community that we're a part of. This community that you are helping to build is an amazing space for you to be in that helps to support you. And then takeaways for preparation, right? Preparation is key. It is key. You cannot over-prepare. You want to prepare mentally. You want to get rest. You want to eat nutritionally dense meals, and you want to get into community. Okay, make sure you're doing that. And then, of course, as we continue with fasting, so that is preparing for a fast. Now, we can do an entire series on preparing for the fast. Right? That is, it is that important, preparing for the fast. Of course, getting through the fast is our next phase. How do we successfully get through the fast, and what's going on when we talk about fasting? And so completing the fast, that is getting into the fast and moving through that space. And here, what I want to do is I want to talk about the different phases of fasting. right? So, and you'll see there 0 to 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours. And that's what we've typically done on a weekly basis. I am going to spend my time, though, talking about the first 24 to 36 hours and what's going on in the body, because that helps us understand and be successful. So when we talk about fasting, the first part of fasting, when you first go into fast, you just stop eating, and for the first 6 hours, that's called the postprandial phase. The postprandial phase. And in this phase, the body is just now breaking down the food. It's extracting the components of it, right? It's breaking down the proteins, and it's breaking down the carbohydrates, and it's pulling out the fat. It's emulsifying it and sending it to the liver. All those things are going on during the postprandial phase. In this phase, energy levels are high. Blood sugar levels are high, insulin levels are high, right? Because we're just processing right now. We're digesting the stuff. And often what happens is, just as the body is just about to end the postprandial phase, we eat again. Right? Think about it, right? So you get up and you eat breakfast, or say you eat breakfast at 6 o'clock. Right? 6 hours later, it's lunchtime. 6 hours after that is supper. So just as the body is getting through this first phase, we start eating. And the body hasn't quite been able to process and get rid of the stuff. So it's kind of like going to one of the big box stores, right? So you go to one of the club stores and you buy, they sell you a million whatever for $2. Right? And you come home and you now have, let's say you buy a bag of rice, right? 50-pound bag of rice. And you come home and you take some out, and you put some in the pantry, you cook some, and then the big rest of the bag, you take it and you put it in the garage. Make sense? Well, there's still rice in the garage, and you're eating up the ones that is in the refrigerator, you're eating up the one that's in the pantry, and you keep going back outside and getting from the garage to bring into the house. Well, what happens if one day you go to the big box store and they're having a sale? And you go and you buy another bag, 50-pound bag of rice. Well, you come home, well, I still got rice. And so now I've added what I bought to what is already there. And the fat that accumulates in us often doesn't get burned because of this process right here. Because just at the 6 hour mark, when the body is finally breaking all that stuff down, when the body is finally beginning to think, okay, let me go into the garage and get some of that rice, we buy more rice. Okay? So the first 6 hours, that's called the postprandial phase. The body's breaking it down. And like I said, energy levels are high because you're just now really processing all that food. And then the early fasting stage, 6 to 12 hours. This is the physical state where insulin levels are starting to go down. It's starting to drop, starting to dip. It's not going away. Right? But our blood sugars are just coming down. And this is a good place. Let me see. This is a good place to take a look at blood sugars. I'm going to go back to Wednesday. Let's take a look at Wednesday. These are my blood sugars, by the way. Right. So on Wednesday, right? So say I ate right here. Okay. Well, did I eat or did I just brush my teeth? Yeah, so this is a brush my teeth. So I brushed my teeth and the blood sugar went up. Now, this is simulating eating, right? Because the stuff went in my mouth. The toothpaste has sugar, went in my mouth. And I want you to look at, so from here, 6 hours, and so we got a little spike. And so 6 to 12, right? Look at the blood sugars are still high, 6 to 12. And then as I continued fasting, the blood sugars are coming down, 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 into the next day, down, 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 spike again a little bit right there, toothpaste, and then blood sugars come down. So imagine what happens right here. So I say I ate breakfast and the blood sugar went up, and then noon it's still high, right? And then I eat again. Well, I'm continuing to compound what's going on there. So in those hours, right, the 6 to 12 hours, this is the early fasting stage. So in order for the body to process all that stuff and get it out of our system, we've got to extend that fast longer, or extend the non-eating longer. So the glycogenolysis, breaking down of glycogen into glucose is happening during this space, because during the first 6 hours we took it, we stored it. And as the body's now beginning to transition, say, hey, all the sugar is going down. I need to continue breathing. I need to continue moving. My heart needs to continue processing. My brain needs to continue working. Where do I get energy from? The first place I'm going to get it from is I'm going to go to the liver, and I'm going to pull it out from there. Okay, so processing. And then energy levels begin to dip. Now, here is where a lot of times people will feel, they'll say, oh, fasting doesn't work for me because my energy is dropping. Well, the body is beginning now to start to transition from burning carbohydrates to burning fat. And if you're not well rested, right, we talk about preparation. If you're not well rested, you're already kind of teetering in that space. And when the body is transitioning, you feel that as a big drop. There is going to be a changeover, right? Kind of going from gas to burning the battery in a hybrid car. There is going to be a changeover, but because we're not rested, it feels a lot more than it should. Okay, that's the early fasting state. And then the next 12 hours, right? So we talk 0 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18. This is transitioning now to using fat. So glucose levels continue to go down. Insulin levels continue to drop. The liver starts gluconeogenesis. That is making sugar from non-carbohydrate sources. Now it's starting to look, hey, do I have protein? Do I have fats that I need to do? Because I don't have any sugar anymore, because the sugar is actually going down. Right? And people may feel dip in their energy. Irritability may show up in this space. And then 18 to 24 hours, which is where ketones begin. Now, notice, if we've had a meal that's high in carbs, the process of getting to ketosis gets longer, because I've got to deal with all the sugar that came from the meal I ate. And in order to deal with that sugar, I have to use insulin, and insulin and ketones can't exist in the same space. So if I got to process that first and then transition to ketosis, that's why sometimes people will look at their ketones and it's like 24, 36 hours before their ketones gets above 0.5 or 0.4, because 0.5 is considered ketosis. And that's because of the meal that we ate before. Okay, so those hours, the 18 to 24 hours, the body is getting into ketosis. So glycogen stores are nearing depleting, and autophagy is beginning. Remember, autophagy is that process that the body goes through for energy, recycling, reclaiming. So it is fixing up, it's finding those broken, damaged, unused cells, those cells that are transforming, that are precancerous even, those cells that are causing problems for our immunity, those cells that are causing issues for our inflammation. All of that's going on at this time. And we can and we can improve that, right, if we continue in the fast. So ketosis begins, and then we go to fat adaptation, right? This is 24 to 30 hours. And in fat adaptation, there's significant increase in ketones. Now the body is in earnest now burning ketones, and we are seeing increased weight loss, increased insulin sensitivity, decreasing blood sugar, and this is where we get the full effect of the ketosis and the autophagy, and we get mental clarity, and people say, hey, when I fast, I feel good. This is where that's starting to happen now. Okay. And so we get through this fast, the same things that we're doing when we talk about preparing for the fast, making sure we're getting good rest, making sure that we are hydrating, right? Make sure we're not doing a lot of stressful events or in situations. That all happens, and that all helps us as we move through a fast successfully. Okay. And then, right, so we talked about preparing for the fast, of course, getting through the fast, and then breaking the fast, just as important, because we set ourselves up for success by breaking the fast and staying on course. So breaking the fast, what does that look like? So here's some tips. Number one, you want to monitor sugars. I'm a big proponent. If we're going to make changes, if we're going to do things that are setting us up for success, if we're going to see what's going on and how do we make changes, if we're going to have to pivot or adjust, then we got to monitor. Monitor ketones, monitor blood sugars. All of that is very important. A big part of what happens after the fast has to do with portions. It's not that people are eating the wrong thing, but they're eating too much of whatever it is. Right? Now, people say to me, well, nuts are not bad. And I'll tell you, well, not the amount of nuts that I eat. Because I can throw back some cashews and some almonds and some, right? In fact, I think that container is like 4 pounds. I could probably eat that whole thing. Now, I've never done that. Okay? But I could probably eat it if I'm not careful. And then eating slowly. It takes 20 minutes for your signal from your stomach to get to your brain that says, hey, I'm full. 20 minutes. And so if you sit there and you're just shoveling things in, right, you've already eaten twice what you should have eaten by the time the signal gets to the brain, or even more. And then you've had some dessert, and you've had some juice, and right, and you still feel hungry, and 20 minutes hasn't gone by yet. So eat slowly. And then avoid sugary processed foods. Always important, because just like preparing for the fast, if you're eating sugary foods, it causes a problem there. It causes a problem in the fast if you've eaten sugary foods. When you break the fast, if you break it with sugary foods, you are going to have cravings. It's going to feel like you're ravenous. You're not going to be able to not eat. You're going to eat all kinds of things that now undo the benefit that we got in the fast. So make sure that you are avoiding those. And then hydration. Make sure you are hydrated. Well, let me back up. I said avoid. You want to be mindful. You want to be mindful. So it's not ever that you cannot eat something that's sugary, not ever that you can't eat something that has carbs, but you have to understand what it's doing in your system. Okay, and then hydration, water, coconut water, of course, unsweetened, herbal teas, all good for hydration. And they're good to break the fast because they help you, they help to soothe the stomach. And remember, if you're doing a fast, particularly if you're doing an extended fast, the stomach is resting. If you all of a sudden dump a bunch of high calorie, high fat, irritating things in there, then all of a sudden you set yourself up for difficulty. And of course, make sure you're having good protein. So eggs, chicken, turkey, tofu, tempeh for those who are vegetarian. Those are good options for you. Healthy fats, things like avocados, nuts, seeds, which give you fiber and give you some omega-3 acids. Those are all good options in terms of breaking the fast. And you've seen me here breaking the fast, and I've used avocado, I've used cheese, I've used nuts, I've used chicken. I've got a salad out in the refrigerator that we were going to use to break the fast. All of that, very important, right? So making sure that you're having a balanced diet. And then, of course, broths, vegetable broth or bone broth, always a good option for us breaking the fast. And just some thoughts and considerations when we're breaking the fast. When we're breaking the fast, you want to break the fast and choose foods that help you maintain stable blood glucose levels, that offer you nutritional value, that are gentle on the digestive system, because you can get in there and put some stuff in, and all of a sudden, yeah, you have increased elimination, you have nausea, you have abdominal pain, you have bloating. You want to use foods that have low glycemic index, and low glycemic index is foods that has 50 or less. The glycemic index is 50 or lower. Lean protein, healthy fats, and then of course you want to make sure that you are hydrating. Did I say hydrating? Yes, hydrating. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at ketones, because we've already looked at blood sugars. Let's look at ketones. What do you think my ketones are going to be? And I think, let me get this over. We did have some guesses in there, so here's my ketone meter. Go ahead and grab my Keto Mojo app. Let's pull that up really quickly. Keto Mojo. All right, here we are. All right, so here's my meter. So I've got to turn this on and go ahead and get this synced. And I think Boy said that they thought my ketones were going to be is it 0.8? I think is what you put in. Let's see, where did that go? There it is. Yes. So Boy said 0.8. And so let me go ahead and drum roll, please. And my ketones are 0.6, so pretty close. So blood sugar, you see that there is 187 according to this, and ketones are 0.6. Remember, less than 0.5 is considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then, of course, above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. We want ketones to be 0.5 or higher. When we talk about being in ketosis, when we talk about autophagy and health and eating a ketogenic diet, those are the numbers we want. If I look at the graph, right, and you'll see there, when blood sugars go up, and that's the tan line, ketones go down, which is the turquoise line. So as I was fasting, so blood sugar went from, what did I do? Yeah, blood sugar went from 149 down to 98, and ketones at that time went from 0.2 up to 0.9. But then when I went from 98 up to 187, then my ketones dropped from 0.9 down to 0.6. Okay, so remember, ketones and insulin can't be in the same space. So if your blood sugar is high, your insulin is going to be high. If your insulin is high, then ketones are going down. Okay? Awesome. All right, so I want to also remind you that our Triple E formula for success is the basis of what we're doing. So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the podcast, with the blog. We empower with the tools that we're learning. For instance, fasting is an amazing tool. Balanced bites, right? The way we eat, the things that we fuel our body with, another tool. All of those are with the intention of implementing the things we're learning, because education gives us a mindset. It allows us to get a different perspective, to see things in a different way, to make a frame shift. The empowerment comes with the tools that we're learning that now implement the behavior, the thoughts, the concepts that we're learning, and then we encourage with the community, and the community helps to support and pull us along and say, hey, we can do this. We can be in a better space. Let me help you. Let me walk alongside with you. Let me help you know that you can be successful. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. I want you to remember that in this space, you can be a voice for change. There are over 1 billion people on the planet with diabetes or pre-diabetes. You can say, hey, there is a place where we can go and we can get benefit. We can begin working and improving our health. So don't keep this to yourself. Let people know, hey, let's go watch this show. Let's go watch this series. We've got, I don't even know how many videos we have now on the channel. I think it's over 1,500 videos that are on the channel that you can watch. Okay, make sure that you're out there. Make sure you are becoming a voice for change. That is your task for this week. We look forward to seeing you. We will be back on Saturday with video from the vault. On Sunday morning at 6 a.m., we'll do This Week in Review. And then, of course, on Monday, we'll be right back here for Dwain Woode MD Live at 7 p.m. Central. Okay? All right, let's hop over and let's take a look. And I think I see some comments. So yes, Boy was saying 0.8. She says, my husband bought in a big King's cake today after I cleared my pantry of snacks. Yeah. So hey, if you want, I can drive over and get some of that. I'm willing to take it away from you. Right. That's the kind of person I am. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. He said, I need a lot of hot tea to fast in this weird cold. It is. Hopefully, in the next few days, it says that we're supposed to get better. I did my discussion, my walk. I'm doing a 100-day walk. I did it from the elliptical today because it was so cold outside. Pamela says, true. Bowie says, are you in the South too? Yeah, Pamela says, yes, Huntsville. Oh, okay. And I do not like cold weather. So all neighbors here. Boy says yes. That's exactly how it felt. Boy said I'm in Chattanooga. Oh, okay. It's cold there also. Yep, it is. 17 degrees. We were a little warmer than that. You said last night. Okay. Wow, we have a whopping 30. Yeah, we were a little cold. We were a little warmer. So I'm in Huntsville here as well. All right. So I'm glad that you are here. I'm always excited that you are in this space. And I look forward to seeing you as we move through this journey together. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. And in this year, we're not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from in us to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We are breaking free, and we are presenting our best selves, our best health, and our best life. Have a great one. We'll see you in our next show. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend, guys.